Flat tire, 11 p.m., no signal. No jack. Most people call for help. The L9 taps a button and lifts its own wheel off the ground. While Mercedes owners are on their knees in the dirt, L9 drivers are already back on the highway. That's not a feature. That's a statement. Let's be honest about what changing a tire actually looks like. You're not in a parking lot with good lighting. You're on the shoulder of a dark highway, kneeling on wet asphalt, wrestling a corroded lug nut while trucks blast past at 70 miles per hour. The hydraulic jack buried under your Range Rover's cargo floor takes 10 minutes just to locate. By the time you've positioned it correctly under the chassis, you've already lost 20 minutes of your life. The L9 eliminates that entirely. Its 800-volt active air suspension doesn't just adjust ride height, it independently controls each corner of the car. Blow a rear left tire, tap the button, and that specific corner rises. The damaged wheel lifts completely off the ground. You unbolt it, mount the spare, and you're moving again. No jack, no sweat, no wasted hour in the dark. That alone would be remarkable. But the suspension's real aggression shows off. Road when a 5,700-pound SUV buries itself in deep sand. The standard fix is simple: raise the ride height and spin the tires. It almost never works. You dig deeper. The L9 takes a completely different approach. The suspension rhythmically hammers each wheel downward, then releases, creating a controlled bounce that shifts the vehicle's weight dynamically and breaks the vacuum seal mud creates around buried tires. The car physically hops itself free, clawing into undisturbed material underneath. Every suspension system from Land Rover, BMW or Porsche is engineered around one philosophy: absorb the road, protect the passenger. The L9 shares that goal, then goes further. It can fight back against terrain. That's not an incremental improvement. That's a different category of engineering ambition entirely. And that same ambition extends into how this car was built to survive the worst. Independent crash testers in China ran what's called a sandwich test. The L9 was placed between two fully loaded commercial trucks, each weighing 8 tons. The rear truck accelerated to highway speed and drove directly into the back of the L9, pushing it forward into the stationary truck ahead. Simultaneous front and rear impact. 16 tons of combined force. This is the kind of collision that ends lives. The L9's ultra, high-strength boron steel cage didn't collapse. The A, B, and C pillars held their geometry. The roofline didn't cave. And critically, the doors automatically unlocked after impact. That detail sounds minor until you understand why it matters. When door jambs deform under crush force, they jam shut. Trapped occupants in a burning vehicle isn't theoretical. It's one of the leading causes of post-crash fatality. The L9 engineers designed against that specific outcome. The cabin's survival space remained completely intact. A suspension that rescues itself. A chassis that absorbed a commercial pile-up without structural failure. Either achievement alone would demand respect from any legacy automaker. Together, in a single platform under $65,000, they signal something the European luxury segment hasn't faced before. A Chinese manufacturer that isn't catching up to the benchmark, it's replacing it. But the mechanical story still isn't the most important one on this platform. For that, you need to look at the powertrain, and how Li Auto quietly solved the problem that has held back EV adoption for a decade. Range anxiety isn't a rational fear, it's an emotional one. And that difference matters enormously, because rational fears respond to data, emotional fears respond to experience. You can show a skeptical buyer charts proving fast chargers cover most highways. You can show them that 300 miles of range covers 95 PHN/TRM of daily driving patterns. They'll nod and still buy the diesel, because when that battery drops to 12 PHN/TRM on a dark interstate with no charger for 40 miles, the data disappears. The dread takes over. Traditional plug-in hybrids tried to fix this. Their solution: bolt an electric motor onto a conventional drivetrain and call it progress. The result was mechanical complexity, extra weight, and a driving character that felt like two incomplete systems arguing under the hood. Li Auto rejected that compromise entirely. Under the L9's hood sits a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It has pistons, cylinders, and burns gasoline. But here's the detail that changes everything. It has zero mechanical connection to the wheels. No driveshaft, no transmission linking combustion to motion. It physically cannot move the car forward. It is a generator. Nothing else. Its only job is to spin at the exact RPM where its thermal efficiency peaks, the sweet spot where it converts fuel into electricity most effectively, and feed that power either to the 52.3 kWh battery pack or directly to the dual electric motors driving the axles. The engine never operates inefficiently. The electric motors handle every variable demand. The result is a system cleaner and more effective than either architecture could achieve alone. For daily driving, the L9 runs purely on battery. 133 miles of silent zero-emission electric range. Enough that most owners go months without visiting a gas station. For long road trips, fill the 17-gallon tank. The generator activates silently, sustaining charge indefinitely. Total range over 870 miles. The dual motors deliver 440-plus horsepower with instant torque. No gear shifts, no engine vibration, no transition between power sources you can feel. You get pure electric driving dynamics, cross-country range, and the ability to refuel at any gas station on the planet. Range anxiety, architecturally eliminated, not managed. Mounted above the windshield is a 128-line LiDAR sensor firing millions of laser pulses per second, reconstructing the road environment as a live 3-dimensional map hundreds of feet ahead. 11 cameras, millimeter, wave radar, and ultrasonic sensors cover every angle. All of it flows into twin NVIDIA Orin X processors, chips capable of 508 trillion operations per second combined, running Li Auto's Ad-Max autonomous driving system. But the most intelligent use of that computing power isn't the highway driving assistance. It's what happens to the suspension. The LiDAR isn't just scanning for other vehicles. It's reading the road surface in real time. When it detects a pothole, a speed bump, or a rough patch ahead, the NVIDIA chips calculate the exact moment each wheel will make contact, and milliseconds before impact, command the active damper on that specific corner to adjust. The wheel hits the obstacle. The damper absorbs it with a response calibrated to that exact disturbance. The chassis doesn't react. The passenger feels nothing. This is the difference between reactive and predictive suspension. Reactive systems, even excellent ones, respond after the disturbance has already entered the wheel. Predictive systems intercept the energy before it reaches the chassis. The road is processed by hardware and software, so the occupant receives a mathematically filtered version of reality. No European luxury SUV at any price. Not the Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT, not the Mercedes GLS 580, not the Range Rover SV. Currently combines LiDAR road scanning with AI-driven predictive damping at this level of refinement. Look at the full picture. A suspension that lifts its own wheel for a tire change, and bounces itself free from terrain. A chassis that survived 16 tons of simultaneous impact without cabin intrusion. An EREV powertrain delivering 870 miles of range with pure electric driving dynamics. A supercomputer scanning the road ahead and adjusting the suspension before you feel anything. Add 3 15.7-inch OLED screens, second-row massage seats, 3D gesture controls, and a refrigerator that doubles as a baby bottle warmer. The L9 starts at $65,000. A Mercedes GLS with a fraction of this technology starts at $90,000. A Range Rover that can't lift its own wheel starts at $105,000. European automakers still hold real advantages: heritage, materials, a century of mechanical refinement. That's not gone, but the axis of competition has shifted. Software intelligence, safety architecture, powertrain innovation, passenger experience. These are the dimensions that drive purchasing decisions now. And on those dimensions, the gap hasn't just closed. In several measurable categories, it has reversed. The L9 isn't a warning shot from China's auto industry. It's a completed lap that the legacy automakers are still trying to finish. The benchmark has moved. The only question left: how many model cycles before the rest of the industry actually catches up?